How do we kick this thing off, man?
Okay, here, I'll kick it off.
Yeah, you kick it off. Ready?
All right, welcome back, everyone. It's good to be here. Thank you all for tuning in, for showing up every week and supporting us as we do our best to support you guys and just doing the things that we do, showing up with love and yeah.
I love that. Let's keep rolling.
Well, it was going.
It's good. Let's keep rolling.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
let's just keep rolling it, man. Let's keep rolling. Today, in today's episode, I think that's so natural.
Yeah,
You know, I feel like that's very natural, just a way to roll into it. So let's just keep that rolling.
So I'm
and
back.
Just hit it.
Well, okay.
Yeah, so you are back.
I am back.
You were in Sundance.
I was at Sundance, yeah. So it's really good to be here and really looking forward to sharing with you guys this creation story of Jumping Mouse. And this story is by Himeo Storm, by Eschima from the Book of Seven Arrows. And this story was first shared to both Ethan and I sitting in ceremony with one of our beloved teachers, Naite, who was a guest a couple weeks ago. And we, it's just a wonderful story of really the path of awakening is what it is, and transformation. What else could you maybe say about it?
Yeah, I just think that it's also a story that like I keep coming back to, you know, like in some ways, like it keeps coming back to me of just like in different periods or places of my life. I feel like it's a story that I come back to and I see things differently within the story and within myself in the story. And so I say for those who are reading or listening along, just to tune in and just really listen. And I love what you share between, like you shared this a couple of times, but read between the lines. We're gonna encourage you to listen between the lines. Listen to what is being spoken, listen to what is being said through the story in a way that maybe isn't actually spoken. You know, like what are these things? Just like really be with this story and be with this in a really good way, because it's such a powerful medicine story. You know, that's really what it is. It's a powerful medicine story. And it'll be medicine for you for wherever you are on that journey. And we'll come back to that, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna end up sharing the story, then we'll open up a little bit of a discussion around the story, and then we'll have a question to kind of have for reflection for you, tuning in to just really be with it. And we'd like to hear from you in that capacity. Yeah, but I think it's just a really beautiful story that's like carried me through a lot, I would say. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Cool.
All right, well, let's get into it.
For sure. I'm gonna be the narrator.
And I am gonna play the characters of the story.
The story of Jumping Mouse. Once there was a mouse. He was a busy mouse, searching everywhere, touching his whiskers to the grass and looking. He was as busy as all mice are, busy with mice things. But once in a while, he would hear an odd sound. He would lift his head, squinting hard to see, his whiskers wiggling in the air, and he would wonder. One day he scurried up to a fellow mouse and asked him,
"Do you hear a roaring in your ears, my brother?" No,
answered the other mouse, not lifting his busy nose from the ground.
I hear nothing. I'm busy now. Talk to me later.
He asked another mouse the same question, and the mouse looked at him strangely.
Are you foolish in the head? What sound?
He asked and slipped into a hole in a fallen cottonwood tree. The little mouse shrugged his whiskers and busied himself again, determined to forget the whole matter. But there was that roaring again. It was faint, very faint, but it was there. One day, he decided to investigate the sound just a little. Leaving the other busy mice, he scurried a little way and listened again. There it was. He was listening hard when suddenly someone said hello.
Hello, little brother,
the voice said, and Mouse almost jumped right out of his skin. He arched his back and tail and was about to run.
Hello,
again said the voice.
It is I, Brother Raccoon.
And sure enough, it was.
What are you doing here all by yourself, little brother?
Asked the raccoon. The mouse blushed and put his nose almost to the ground.
I hear a roaring in my ears and I'm investigating it.
He answered timidly.
A roaring in your ears?
Replied the raccoon as he sat down with him.
What you hear, little brother, is the river. The river?
Mouse asked curiously.
What is a river? Walk with me and I will show you the river,
Raccoon said. Little Mouse was terribly afraid, but he was determined to find out once and for all about the roaring.
I can return to my work,
He thought,
After this thing is settled, and possibly this thing may aid me in all my busy examining and collecting, and my brothers all said it was nothing, I will show them. I will ask Raccoon to return with me, and I will have proof. All right, Raccoon, my brother,
said Mouse.
lead on to the river. I will walk with you.
And little Mouse walked with Raccoon. His little heart was pounding in his breast. The raccoon was taking him upon strange paths, and little Mouse smelled the scent of many things that had gone by this way. Many times he became so frightened he almost turned back. Finally, they came to the river. It was huge and breathtaking, deep and clear in places, and murky in others. Little Mouse was unable to see across it because it was so great. It roared, sang, cried, and thundered on its course. Little Mouse saw great and little pieces of the world carried along its surface.
It is powerful,
Little Mouse said, fumbling for words.
It is a great thing,
answered the raccoon.
But here, let me introduce you to a friend.
In a smoother, shallower place was a lily pad, bright and green. Sitting upon it was a frog, almost as green as the pad it sat on. The frog's white belly stood out clearly.
Hello, little brother,
said the frog.
Welcome to the river. I must leave you now,
cut in Raccoon.
But do not fear, little brother, for Frog will care for you now.
And Raccoon left, looking along the riverbank for food that he might wash and eat. Little Mouse approached the water and looked into it. He saw a frightened mouse reflected there.
Who are you?
Little Mouse asked the reflection.
Are you not afraid being that far into the great river? No,
answered the frog.
I am not afraid. I have been given the gift from birth to live both above and within the river. When Winterman comes and freezes this medicine, I cannot be seen. But all the while Thunderbird flies, I am here. To visit me, one must come when the world is green. I, my brother, am the keeper of the water. Amazing,
Little Mouse said at last, again fumbling for words.
Would you like to have some medicine power?
Frog asked.
Medicine power? Me?
asked Little Mouse.
Yes, if it is possible. Then crouch as low as you can, and then jump as high as you are able. You will have your medicine,
Frog said. Little Mouse did as he was instructed. He crouched as low as he could and jumped, and when he did, his eyes saw the sacred mountains. Little Mouse could hardly believe his eyes, but there they were. But then he fell back to earth, and he landed in the river. Little Mouse became frightened and scrambled back to the bank. He was wet and frightened, nearly to death.
You have tricked me,
Little Mouse screamed at the frog.
Wait,
said the frog.
You are not harmed. Do not let your fear and anger blind you. What did you see?
Mouse stammered.
I saw the sacred mountains. And you have a new name,
Frog said.
It is Jumping Mouse. Thank you,
Jumping Mouse said and thanked him again.
I want to return to my people and tell them of this thing that has happened to me. Go then,
Frog said.
Return to your people. It is easy to find them. Keep the sound of the Medicine River to the back of your head. Go opposite to the sound, and you will find your brother mice.
Jumping Mouse returned to the world of mice, but he found disappointment. No one would listen to him, and because he was wet and had no way of explaining it because there had been no rain, many of the other mice were afraid of him. They believed that he'd been spat from the mouth of another animal that had tried to eat him. And they all knew that if he had not been food for the one who wanted him, then he must also be poison for them. Jumping Mouse lived again among his people, but he could not forget his vision of the sacred mountains. The memory burned in the mind and heart of Jumping Mouse, and one day he went to the edge of the river place. Jumping Mouse went to the edge of the place of mice and looked out onto the prairie. He looked up for eagles. The sky was full of many spots, each one an eagle, but he was determined to go to the sacred mountains. He gathered all of his courage and ran just as fast as he could onto the prairie. His little heart pounded with excitement and fear. He ran until he came to a stand of sage. He was resting and trying to catch his breath when he saw an old mouse. The patch of sage old mouse lived in was a haven for mice. Seeds were plentiful, and there was nesting material and many things to be busy with.
"Hello,"
said old mouse.
"Welcome."
Jumping Mouse was amazed. Such a place and such a mouse.
"You are truly a great mouse."
Jumping Mouse said with all the respect he could find.
"This is truly a wonderful place, and the eagles cannot see you here either."
Jumping Mouse said.
"Yes,"
said old mouse.
"and one can see all the beans of the prairie here. The buffalo, antelope, rabbit, and coyote. One can see them all from here and know their names." "That is marvelous."
Jumping Mouse said.
"Can you also see the river and the great mountains?" "Yes and no."
Old Mouse said with conviction.
"I know there is the great river, but I am afraid that the great mountains are only a myth. Forget your passion to see them and stay here with me. There is everything you want here, and it is a good place to be." How can he say such a thing?
Thought Jumping Mouse.
The medicine of the sacred mountains is nothing one can forget. "Thank you very much for the meal you have shared with me, old mouse, and also for sharing your great home."
Jumping Mouse said.
"But I must seek the mountains. You are a foolish mouse to leave here. There is danger on the prairie. Just look up there."
Old Mouse said with even more conviction.
"See all those spots? They are eagles, and they will catch you."
It was hard for Jumping Mouse to leave, but he gathered his determination and ran hard again. The ground was rough, but he arched his tail and ran with all his might. He could feel the shadows of the spots upon his back as he ran. All those spots. Finally, he ran into a stand of chokecherries. Jumping Mouse could hardly believe his eyes. It was cool there and very spacious. There was water, cherries, and seeds to eat, grasses to gather for nests, holes to be explored, and many, many other busy things to do. And there were a great many things to gather. He was investigating his new domain when he heard very heavy breathing. He quickly investigated the sound and discovered its source. It was a great mound of hair with black horns. It was a great buffalo, Jumping Mouse. Jumping Mouse could hardly believe the greatness of the being he saw lying there before him. He was so large that Jumping Mouse could have crawled into one of his great horns.
"Such a magnificent being,"
thought Jumping Mouse as he crept closer.
"Hello, my brother,"
said the buffalo.
"Thank you for visiting me." "Hello, great bean,"
said Jumping Mouse.
"Why are you lying here?" "I am sick and I am dying,"
the buffalo said.
"And my medicine has told me that only the eye of a mouse can heal me. But, little brother, there is no such thing as a mouse."
Jumping Mouse was shocked.
"One of my eyes?"
he thought.
"One of my tiny eyes?"
He scurried back into the stand of chokecherries, but the breathing came harder and slower.
"He will die,"
thought Jumping Mouse.
"if I do not give him my eye.
He
He is too great a being to let die."
He went back to where the buffalo lay and spoke.
I am a mouse,"
he said with a shaky voice.
"and you, my brother, are a great being. I cannot let you die. I have 2 eyes, so you may have one of them."
And the minute he said it, Jumping Mouse's eye flew out of his head and the buffalo was made whole. The buffalo jumped to his feet, shaking Jumping Mouse's whole world.
"Thank you, my little brother,"
said the buffalo.
"I know of your quest for the sacred mountains and of your visit to the river. You have given me life so that I may give away to the people. I will be your brother forever. Run under my belly and I will take you right to the foot of the sacred mountains. And you need not fear the spots. The eagles cannot see you while you run under me. All they will see will be the back of a buffalo. I am of the prairie, and I will fall on you if I try to go up the mountains."
Little Mouse ran under the buffalo, secure and hidden from the spots, but with only one eye. It was frightening. The buffalo's great hooves shook the whole world each time he took a step. And finally, they came to a place and Buffalo stopped.
"This is where I must leave you, little brother,"
said the buffalo.
"Thank you very much,"
said Jumping Mouse.
"But it was very frightening running under you with only one eye. I was constantly in fear of your great earth-shaking hooves." "Your fear was for nothing,"
said Buffalo.
"For my way of walking is the Sundance way, and I always know where my hooves will fall. I now must return to the prairie, my brother. You can always find me there."
Jumping Mouse immediately began to investigate his new surroundings. There were even more things here than in the other places, busier things, and an abundance of seeds and other things mice like. In his investigation of these things, suddenly he ran upon a gray wolf who was sitting there doing absolutely nothing.
"Hello, Brother Wolf,"
Jumping Mouse said. The wolf's ears came alert and his eyes shone.
"Wolf, wolf. Yes, that is what I am. I am a wolf."
But then his mind dimmed again, and it was not long before he sat quietly again, completely without memory as to who he was. Each time Jumping Mouse reminded him who he was, he became excited with the news, but soon would forget.
"Such a great being,"
thought Jumping Mouse.
"but he has no memory."
Jumping Mouse went to the center of this new place and was quiet. He listened for a very long time to the beating of his heart. Then suddenly he made up his mind. He scurried back to where the wolf sat and he spoke.
"Brother Wolf,"
Jumping Mouse said.
"Wolf, wolf."
Said the wolf.
"Please, Brother Wolf,
Said Jumping Mouse.
please listen to me. I know what will heal you. It is one of my eyes, and I want to give it to you. You are a greater being than I. I am only a mouse. Please take it."
When Jumping Mouse stopped speaking, his eye flew out of his head and the wolf was made whole. Tears fell down the cheeks of the wolf, but his little brother could not see them, for now he was blind.
"You are a great brother,"
said the wolf.
"For now I have my memory. But now you are blind. I am the guide into the sacred mountains. I will take you there. There is a great medicine lake there, the most beautiful lake in the world. All the world is reflected there, the people, the lodges of the people, and all the beings of the prairies and skies. Please take me there,"
Jumping Mouse said. The wolf guided him through the pines to the medicine lake. Jumping Mouse drank the water from the lake, and the wolf described the beauty to him.
"I must leave you here,"
Said Wolf.
"for I must return so that I may guide others. But I will remain with you as long as you like." "Thank you, my brother.
Said Jumping Mouse.
But although I am frightened to be alone, I know you must go so that you may show others the way to this place."
Jumping Mouse sat there trembling in fear. It was no use running, for he was blind, but he knew an eagle would find him there. He felt the shadow on his back and heard the sound that eagles make. He braced himself for the shock, and the eagle hit. Jumping Mouse went to sleep. Then he woke up. The surprise of being alive was great, but now he could see. Everything was blurry, but the colors were beautiful.
I can see,
Said Jumping Mouse over and over again. A blurry shape came toward Jumping Mouse. Jumping Mouse squinted hard, but the shape remained a blur.
"Hello, brother,"
A voice said.
"do you want some medicine?" "Some medicine for me?"
Asked Jumping Mouse.
Yes, yes." "Then crouch down as low as you can."
And jump as high as you can.
No.
Oh, the voice said.
"And jump as high as you can."
Jumping Mouse did as he was instructed. He crouched as low as he could and jumped. The wind caught him and carried him higher.
"Do not be afraid.
The voice called to him.
Hang on to the wind and trust."
Jumping Mouse did. He closed his eyes and hung on to the wind, and it carried him higher and higher. Jumping Mouse opened his eyes, and they were clear, and the higher he went, the clearer they became. Jumping Mouse saw his old friend upon a lily pad on the beautiful medicine lake. It was the frog.
"You have a new name."
Called the frog.
"You are Eagle." So let's just take a moment here and let that land. Take some deep breaths.
I think before we continue, what I want to invite everybody who's listening to do is actually just to pause this and just to think for just a couple of moments of what was that story about? Just before we go into kind of like opening up a dialogue about that. I'd really love to like encourage, you guys listening to really pause and really be with that story for just a moment. What was that story about for you? What did you see in that story? What pieces stuck out to you? What may have sparked a feeling or a sensation in your experience?
Understanding that there is no right or wrong, simply an interpretation of a creation story that is powerful beyond the words. Well, I have some curiosity about, I remember you sharing with me the very first time you heard this story, a few days after you had first heard it in ceremony with the plant teachers, I think, and the impact that it had on you then. And then I also know a little bit about how the story has continued to show up in your life and you revisiting it. And it was very much in large part a part of your intention for the Vision Fast that you just sat in recently. And I'm curious as to, because I don't know the last time you went through the story. And so what kind of landed for you this time? What medicine did you receive from the story?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Because it's played a huge role in a lot of things, and in some ways, man, it's so funny because like in this moment of life, or like in this moment that I'm experiencing, like I can see myself in so many different parts, and like every single part of like seeing, like taking that jump and seeing the sacred mountains, and then feeling almost like landing in the water and then feeling tricked. Like, was that real? Was what I saw real? And then just the part of like going back to the village and sharing that with the people around you. And like the little mouse sharing, or at that point jumping mouse sharing, hey guys, like I saw the sacred mountains. And then everyone disbelieves him because he's wet. Because he looks like he was kind of like spit out or rejected by another animal. And so I feel like there's a lot of my life that I can relate to in that aspect of things. Of like there's always that part of me, man, that like just seems to doubt what I do and who I am and what I've seen and what I've experienced. And so like in that part I can see myself there, like going back to there, like going back to home. And he kind of like blends in for a couple of days, he goes back to doing mouse things. And I can see myself like in some ways like doing that, like not fully owning what I've seen and who I am and just that whole experience. And so I can see myself in that part of the story. I mean, I can also see myself when he goes and visits like the old sage, you know, who has everything. And then he chooses not to just rest there, you know, because he doesn't think that, like, that's not it, you know, that's not it. Even though it is it, you know, it's almost like the old sage has done that and came back and landed in that spot. He's like, oh, just don't worry about that. You're here, like be here. Everything you need is here, you know? And then jumping on like, no, it's not. Like, I gotta go because that's what I saw, you know? And so I feel like there's still like that, this part of me that also is like, okay, but the next thing or the next goal or the next idea or the next dream, like, so it's like, I see myself within like all of those parts, you know? And then also just with that last part, man, like giving up the I. And then really like, okay, God, I'm here, completely blind. I don't know what's going on, completely in the unknown. I have some understanding of the world, but just trusting that it's going to be like trusting, okay, I feel it coming, you know, the eagle's going to come and hit and boom. And then it's like, you like reborn, and you don't know, like you're in that like limbo of like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Like, where am I? Like a little bit of discombobulation of like, okay, what's going on? But then he's told to jump and like, okay, then go higher and higher and higher. And the more higher you get, the more clearly you see. And so I feel like I can relate to that piece as well. Just because like that comes back to like I see the mission and I see the purpose and I see the vision so clearly in my life. Like I see it. And it's just about now go, you know? Now as your vision gets clearer, like still soar and still like fly and be reborn in this new way, in this new experience.
Yeah, hang on to the wind and trust.
Yeah, and really, really trust that it's
learn
like,
how to navigate that one sacred element that we cannot see.
Yeah.
The unknown.
Yeah.
Learn how to use those wings.
Yeah, and trusting that you're gonna be okay, you know? Like, so, yeah, there's a lot. And that's the beautiful thing about this story is I feel that
it's timeless. It's classic.
Yeah.
I think we will forever, as we continue to grow and evolve, we will forever be faced with the challenges of mouse and jumping mouse and have to continuously forever give up all of those eyes, all of those personal preferences, all of those things that we think we need or do or whatever we get caught by. It's just going to be a forever falling away.
So we can be reborn into like what we actually are.
Again and again and again and again.
Yeah, because that was a huge part of like just the intention behind the vision fast was for me to give up my second eye. Because I feel like in with the first eye, I feel like it just felt like, yeah, I've experienced that in some ways. Like I've experienced the awaken, I'm experiencing like this deep kind of sense of profound mysticism and experience in my life, and I've kind of gone through the path and I began serving and like really giving. And in some ways it was like, okay, but now really give it up. Like really give this I, me, all about me, looking in the mirror, doing this how am I looking, all this stuff about me, really give that up. Because when I give that up, what then happens? Well, I'm born into the eagle. I'm embracing the unknown. I'm embracing that I don't know who I am. Yet there's the knowing of who I am. It's like that deep, like I think on the wolf, what pointed out and what stuck out for me is that he took more time. And instead of like,
what do you mean?
With the buffalo. So like with the buffalo, he was he ran to the bushes. He was scared. His heart was beating, right?
Yeah.
His heart was beating really fast, and he was just like really scared. But he knew what to do. Whereas on the wolf, he went to the bushes, and it almost sounded like what stuck out for me is he took more time, and his heart wasn't beating as fast. And there's that little quiet voice within that he could just trust more. That he was like almost more comfortable with. Almost more of like, okay, I'm really gonna be here with that voice. Like, I trust this, it's safe, you know? And so I feel like that also stuck out for me there, like in the story as well. Just because I feel like that is happening. You know, there's like that deeper and deeper trust into, okay, this is the way that life is going to unfold. This is life, as in just like everything. And really trusting in that unknown and the out of controlness and the emotions and the feelings and just life itself. It's like almost like there's a little bit more comfort inside of me at the same time of like, okay, it's okay, you know? What's gonna happen? I don't know, right? There's a lot happening for me, like even right now and today, like work-wise, like just some things that came up and was just like far out, like far out. Like I don't know what's gonna happen, man, you know, in some ways. And I know that there's decisions that get to be made around some things. And there's a lot of cool things up in the air and a lot of different opportunities that have kind of come in. And it's really just like even with volunteering at the fire hall, like that came out of nowhere, man. That came by just longboarding a couple of times and always being pulled to this sign that says volunteer firefighter. I'm like, I don't know why that's coming up for me. I can't tell you why. But every time I see it, it's just like, that's it. I'm just like, far out. Why is that? I don't know. But there's almost like, okay, I don't need to know. I just have to follow that nudge. And there's almost like a little bit more of like a safety or a comfort in following those nudges, of like really trusting that. And it comes back to even this morning of like, it's just like going for, and this week has really been that for me, but like going out to like just sit in the chair. A little voice is like, well, walk the field. I was like, oh, I've never done that before. Okay, let's walk the field. Wow, okay, cool. Something different, you know? But it's really like, it sounds crazy, it sounds far, but it's like really tuning in and listening to just like, for me, that like that intuition, right? Like that nudge, like there's always like, it was even in the grocery store before I came after yoga, there's these two girls that were in the grocery store, man, and they were just getting all this stuff from like a movie night. And I was just like, of course you're doing a movie night. And there's this like thought that was like, go and like talk with them and just like chat them up. And I was like, oh, but I'm too scared, so I'm just gonna walk around, you know? So I did that. But then at the till, they're right there. And it's like, that was the perfect moment for me to just like, hey, you guys are obviously doing a movie night, aren't you? And it was just this really cool moment in conversation that just like opened up. And it was just like, oh, wow. Okay, those little nudges that I'm experiencing, follow those. That little whisper inside, follow those. And then to bring it back to the story, it's like I feel like in that part, it's like Jumping Mouse was a little bit more like he knew what he had to do, and he trusted that it's going to be okay, right? Through the experience of the buffalo and through the experience of like walking under the buffalo and the buffalo having his back, like the buffalo. I dance in the sun dance way, right? My hooves, like your fear was a waste of time.
It's like I'm picturing right now. He only has one eye, and it's like almost his senses started to heighten because part of the ego, he had like began to write his relationship with part of the ego. He'd like recognized it, put it to bed. So because he only was operating, let's say, with a partial ego, he wasn't as afraid, and his senses had been heightened, so he was able to feel. He was just able to feel the ground underneath his feet a little bit more, and could feel that he was held. You know, he didn't have to. There was nothing to worry about. You know, the fear had kind of dissipated. And that's what, like, one thing that I wanted to comment on that you were sharing was those nudges. And it's like in your story of at the grocery store, it's like you said you were a little bit afraid. And so that nudge was actually fear, right? It was fear. And so that whisper that you heard is like, what I'm thinking about now is writing your relationship with fear. Instead of running and hiding or doubting or not believing, it's like, oh, hello, fear. I see you. Perfect. Thanks for showing up, because now I can go do what I intended to do.
Yeah. And just allow for like a different experience to be created. And I think that's what came back to like why Jumping Mouse also felt more safe with the wolf, is because he had the experience with the buffalo, where the buffalo didn't, like, he gave him the first eye, which was terrifying for him to do, but then he walked with him to the mountain, you know, like he walked and ran under him, and the buffalo didn't stomp on his feet. Yes, he was scared, but the buffalo was like, hey, like, your fear was a waste of energy, like, your fear was like a waste, don't do that, like, hey, it's okay, you know? And he had that experience with buffalo, and which led him into like the wolf, where he's like, okay, I trust this just a little bit more. I trust those nudges just a little bit more. That fear that comes up, I see that, like you say,
Yeah.
hello, okay.
It's almost like he got a taste of knowing
Yeah,
from that God was birthed or given to him or gifted to him from the medicine of him just learning, the medicine he received from the sage mouse, the medicine he received from the buffalo. When he got to the wolf, his heart wasn't beating as fast. Took a little bit more time. And he had that taste of knowing.
yeah,
Oh, I know what I need to do.
Yeah.
I know I can trust now. And then when he got to when he got up to the Medicine Lake, there was actually nothing else he could do. It was total surrender.
yeah,
And he had that taste of knowing, that taste of trust. And still, Frog reminded him, because it was new, something new. When he started going up into the sky and he could see and things were becoming clear, and Frog reminded him again. And it's those beautiful little reminders that I think we all need all the time. You know, that's why community is so important. That's why revisiting these stories is so important, because it's like, we're going to get caught forever and ever and ever. We're going to continue to get caught again as we grow and evolve, right? It's a forever thing, this life. As long as we're here in this human body and evolving, putting in our best effort, we're going to constantly come up against these obstacles, if you will. And it's like remembering that trust, remembering that knowing, and sometimes reaching out, you know, to the community or being a part of that community and just getting that reminder.
yeah. Having people in our life that like, hey, you're actually like, yeah, you're beautiful. You're like, you're really like, you're a really good person. You know, like you can go and do that. Like you can.
Yeah.
Look at you. You know, you got this. It almost like gives you the permission to be that thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like when we can't. Like obviously, like it's best to give that to ourselves, but we can't give everything to ourselves in that like capacity. I think we can, yes, like but it's also the importance of community in that way, because sometimes it takes community reflecting to us who we are, so that we can see ourselves that way. And that's a huge change and a huge shift. It's just a huge reminder. And I love how too, like, well, he got the different names, right? Like he got the name of Jumping Mouse. Like it was almost like those passages of initiation of like, now you are Jumping Mouse, you are a different person. You know, you're different than when you first jumped.
Yeah.
You're different because of that, which I think is huge too, because like it's almost like in today's culture, we got a leaf all over my head. In today's culture, we don't have those periods of initiation. We don't have those moments when we're given a new name or we're allowed to be somebody different. It's almost like we move through the world, or at least this is how I felt when I was younger as well. I moved through the world just being what everybody wanted me to be. But I didn't want to be that anymore. I didn't want to be that person, but I didn't have anything that could break that for me. I didn't have anything that could lead me to, okay, but can I be something different? Because this version of me, this me in this moment, I don't like it. It's suffering. It's like really dark and really,
good.
yeah, it's covered with pain and hurt and trauma, and like just like insecurity and just riddled with shame and just like all that stuff. And it's like, I just desperately wanted something to happen where it's like, now this is who you are. It's almost like the passages of rights. It's like going from like a boy, now you're a man. And to have that like shared, to have that given, I think is such a beautiful thing, because I never got that. You know, so even today, there's some times where I still feel like a boy. Like I still feel almost boyish, where I'm like, oh, I feel like a little kid right now. Because I don't think I got like that break of like, you are now a man. And it's like, oh wow, okay, this is who I am now. This is my new name.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful in the story of Jumpy Mouse. Like he first heard that roaring, right? And there was this disbelief, like, I'm just hearing things, right? And then, oh no, there it is again. And then he got curious. Like this story very much is that. It is a journey of rite of passage, because that curiosity, it's right, like that comes from the place of the child in the South, that innocent, pure one, and he hears it, right? It's like, if we're caught in adolescence, we're just caught up in all the noise. We're not actually hearing anything other than the jets fly over us and the smell of diesel and the trains and the screaming and the sirens and all the stuff, right? It's just so stuffy and just, you know, like it's like subduing and it's like congesting. And then he goes off and he, gathers his fear, gathered his determination and his courage. And then he meets his first little helper, his spirit guide. And then he goes to the river and his spirit guide passes him along. What I love about this is the raccoon was humble enough to know that it was the raccoon and that his job as the spirit guide, he knew his place. His job was done. I'm going to pass you on to Frog. And then Frog mentors him, right? Frog mentors him in such a way that allows him to see the sacred mountains, to get over just a little bit more fear. And then one part that really stuck out to me is when Jumping Mouse had said to the frog, well, I want to go back and tell everybody, like, this is amazing. And Frog directed him to, like, the mountains will always be, the sound of the river and the sacred mountains will always be, right? They'll always be behind you, but turn away and walk away. Walk away and you're going to find all that traffic, all that noise, all that busyness, all those, people just bumping into things, walking in holes in the street, just caught up in the busyness of life. And sure enough, he did. Then he moves to the old sage, right? And the old sage mouth thing, there's the guide. And he really listened. Every time that he bumped into another being, he had the utmost reverence. And it's not that he didn't love himself, by giving up the eyes. I don't even think initially he knew what he was doing, but he remembered what Frog said. It's if you can go back if you want to. You can go back if you want to, but just remember what you saw. And I love that also, that like the old sage mouse, like, he let him go, like there was a little bit there. He was being hard on him, but he's like, all right, if you got that vision, like he was like proud of him at the same time as he was saying, hey, like it's all here. Yeah. But he knew that Jumping Mouse had to go on a journey. And I just think it's so important for us to, like, we can't do this alone, man. We can't do it alone. I mean, you have a friend, right? A really dear friend of yours who you've spoken about so many times and who played a huge role in your life, supporting you and loving you, and how you wish he would have somehow received the same support as you or as me, with the people that we've worked with and been fortunate enough to call mentors and teachers. It's like, we all need that. And that could be a therapist. It could be a friend. It could be the forest, right? It could be so many different things. And it's such a beautiful reminder for me, is just to remember that, that, hey, I'm learning and I need to, like, of course I understand too that, like, we are our own, greatest teachers, and for sure I understand that. I believe that. And at the same time, it's like, okay, like, you're seeing something a little bit different than me. Like, what's going on there? And so then we ask, hey, that community piece. It's just really important that we surround ourselves with the people who support us, truly support us. And that's not always the easiest thing to do. And for me personally, I would just want to share that I never seeked it out. Yeah. And it's like Jumping Mouse didn't really either. He was just following what he heard. He was following what turned out to be his intuition, I believe. And when he went out into the prairies, he didn't know. He was running into the unknown, man, with every ounce of courage and bravery that he had. And he just bumped into the old sage. And then he bumped into buffalo. And then he bumped into wolf. Then he eventually bumped into frog again. And I love also the reciprocity of the mentor and the student, if you will. It's like he gave something to each person that he met along the way that helped him out, and that person returned that favor. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. You spoke to a lot of really beautiful parts there. One of those just being the power of community, and the power of also like, well, you spoke to a lot of different parts. It's funny. I feel a little bit discombobulated in this moment. Just want to share that. I feel a little bit discombobulated. I was yawning a couple of times and just feels a little bit like, I just want to share that so I can get back to like connection in that way. Like back, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was just interesting how that came up, man. It was just like, oh, I feel like my cheeks are flushed, you know? I don't know if that's shame. Like, it feels, my cheeks feel warmer than whatnot. So it's just interesting to like be in what I'm experiencing, and then like, yeah. So I share that just to come back into like, okay, this is me, and now I feel like I'm here, you know, in some ways. Because sometimes that's what it takes, you know? It's like, hey, I feel disconnected, or like I feel a little bit like far in this moment. Like, hey, this is what's going on for me. Just, you know, okay, cool. Now we're back, you know? Now we're here. And
there it is. There's you being your own greatest teacher.
Yeah.
It's just you're paying attention to your experience right now. Hey, I'm actually not here right now. Donna, I'm not here. So just give me a moment here. And what that takes, I love that. What that takes is the humility, right? So you're giving yourself life, but you're just being honest and truthful, man. That's it. That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
You're just sharing your experience. Hey, I'm actually not here right now. Like I'm here, but I'm not. Yeah. And so, boom.
Yeah.
How you feeling now?
Yeah, better for sure. Yeah, better for sure. Funny, you know, I feel a little bit lighter and a little bit more lighthearted. And I think that it comes back to that piece around like, it's funny because like you'll always get what you need. When you listen to that intuition, man, like when you listen to that, like when you trust yourself in that way, or when you're really honest, or like when Jumping Mouse heard the roaring of the river, he trusted that and he followed that. And when he followed that, and as he followed those nudges, every single person came to him exactly when he needed it. It was like when you shared, I didn't seek it out.
Yeah.
It just started seeking you out in some ways, you know? Because you were beginning to be open and curious and question and delve and look at things and like explore, just things were percolating in your being. Yeah, like it's like, what's happening here, you know? What is this? Or you're like, what's going on fully? And because of that, it's like, well, then you were led to exactly who you were meant to meet the next time. And then the next time, and then the next, it's like that person led you to the next, and it's just like that process just happens. It's almost like the universe and God is like, oh, he's ready. They're ready. Okay. First guide coming up. You know, it's like the people and circumstances will come into your life to support you in that. Like they almost come in to support you in that, almost enveloping or becoming whoever it is that you need to become next in order to get to that next place. In order to get to the next place. In order to just know yourself more as, well, I think that's why Jumping Mouse at the end was going higher. The higher he got, the more clear he could see. Because he's going higher in spirit. He's going higher in the truth of who he is. That was my interpretation of that. He's going higher in that truth of who he is. And because he's going higher, he can now see things way more clearly in the world.
Yeah.
And it's like there's that beautiful component there. Really, okay. It's like, yeah, it's so funny because like, community is really important. And I think there comes a point in time, like in my own experience, where I had to walk away from my community at that moment. Like in my life, I had to walk away from a certain community, which was, okay, I'm hearing this roaring, guys. Like I'm hearing something, you know?
And they ain't hearing it, man.
Yes.
They ain't hearing it.
No.
And so they're holding you back.
Yes.
And so, yeah, you did have to walk away from that community. And that's not an easy thing to do.
No.
Man, it's one of the hardest things you're ever going to have to do.
Yeah.
But it's so worth it. One thing that came with me while you were talking there, or came to me while you were speaking, is at Sundance, and my sister and I have been speaking about this recently as well. And I really want to share this with my mom, and probably my dad too. And I don't know exactly how to frame it like eloquently enough so that it doesn't like cause hurt, other than just being humble and sincere in my delivery to begin with. Like that's kind of the only way, because I'm stumbling for words trying to express it. But what Reuben George said, who is the Sundance chief that I was a part of this past a couple weeks ago, he said, if you Sundancers, if you people aren't like exceeding me and my teachings, I didn't do my job.
Yeah.
Right? It's like like my mom and dad received their life and everything in it, all the teachings, all their wisdom, whatever was awakened in them through the caregivers that both of them had, right? My grandmas and grandpas. And they passed that on to my mom and dad. And then my mom and dad did their very best to pass that on to me. And I'm not trying to say that I'm better than my mom or dad, or that my mom and dad are better than my grandmas and grandpas. But in some way, it's like, thank you. You know, haichika, because it's like, that's the job of the teacher. That's the job of the leader, is to lead its people to places far beyond what even that person can get to now, you know, in this life. And again, I'm kind of stumbling for words. I don't know if that quite made sense. I'd like to hear, you know, your just little reflection on that, if you will.
Yeah. So I think like there's a piece that came up with, just give me one moment. Because it came up in relation to the buffalo and how, well, like every animal that Jumping Mouse met led them to the next animal, and that was as far as they could go. And that's what that kind of like, like I heard in your sharing was like, hey, my parents did this, and yes, it created these circumstances, these situations, these things in my life, and I am going to be this way because I am going to do a little bit better than they did, which is not about like, hey, it's not about I'm better than you. It's just like, and we could bring this back to good, bad, ineffective, and like, it doesn't matter. It's like, you're just going to add more love into the world, add more love into what you do, radiate more like just acceptance, safety, peace, good per se. You're going to do better. You're going to do better, you know? And you're still going to create suffering. It's still going to happen. It's just going to be a little bit better than your parents did. And it sounds like there's a party that wants to share that with them. And almost share that like, well, like how could you share that with them in a way that would feel good for them?
Well, I think I said it, is just be as sincere as possible and letting them know, like, hey, like, I might stumble with my words here, and I don't mean anything by this other than like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for nurturing me the way you nurtured me, because I feel alive and happy and in love with life, and I am learning so much. You know, so whatever you did, thank you so much.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Share that with them. Send the clip this. We'll clip this. We'll send it to your mom.
Yo,
and
mom,
dad.
yo, dad. I love you guys. Thank you, Haichika. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Because I'm rocking and rolling, and it feels good to be alive, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. And I just love that teaching. Like, as a teacher, I've only done my job if my students can like kick my ass, if you will. Like let's martial arts, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, oh wow.
Yeah.
I taught you well.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now go.
Now go.
Now go into the world.
Yeah.
And you're gonna teach people better than I. And what you're gonna do is teach people better than I did, and they're gonna become better than you did. That's the goal. There's almost like a humbleness and a humility to that. It's almost like a benevolence to it, where it's just like, I want the world to be a better place.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
Yes.
And I want everything to be better. So here's everything I know. Here's everything that I've experienced. Here's everything.
Yeah.
Take it and stand upon this and take it, make it your own, and do better.
And what does it awaken in you? Because I think our teachers see something in us that we are quite not yet able to see. And that's what those teachers they're curious too, right? They're tuned in, they're embodied, they're living, like they're embodying the youth, the child, the youth, the adult, and the elder in their elderhood. They're the full medicine wheel. And so they see, Naite sees in you, or Bill sees in you, right? It's something that you cannot see yet. And he's actually curious. She's curious. She's like, ooh, I keep teaching this man these things. Wonder what the heck, you know, like we're going to have some fun, right? Like, because then that's the reciprocity piece too, right? It's like you like the only thing, like one of the ways that I can be of highest service to my teachers is to be a really good student, right? And then it's like through that, those gifts in me start to awaken that they were curious about, but they're not their gifts, so they didn't know exactly how it would manifest, right?
Yeah.
And then I get to, through my way of being with those gifts, I get to teach my teachers.
Yeah.
And then that's that reciprocity. That's life feeding life.
Yeah. And you get to teach everyone else too.
Exactly.
You know, on top of that, it's like then you step into that role, and that's all that we're doing is like passing the baton along in that way, in just a really beautiful way of like, hey, I see you. I see who you can be. I see who you are. I see you.
Yeah.
You know, rise to meet that.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not going to settle for anything less than that.
Yeah.
You know, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
let's do this. You know, in whatever capacity that is. And I think it's like the exact same. Like it's exact same kind of like mindset of like what broke the 5-minute mile. You know, of like everybody's like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't. Then one breaks it, then everybody does it. You know, but it just takes one leader. It takes one person being able to do that then shapes and opens that up for everybody else. So it takes one teacher to come to you, to hold you, to be like, yo, this is who you are, you know? And this can also go both ways. Like, let me be clear, this can go both ways in like the malevolence or maybe like a darker way of like, and I think that's like being like careful of like who we're surrounding ourselves with to some degree, right? Because everybody's teaching us some things. But then there's also that really beautiful finding that mentor or like experiencing that or opening ourselves up to that where we get that teacher and then really becoming a student to them. And taking on their teachings, it becoming our teaching and sharing our teaching with the world, which is just their teaching, which is their teacher's teaching, which is their teacher's teacher's teaching, which is just the thing that we've been doing for generations and generations.
But we're adding a little piece of our own uniqueness to it.
Yeah.
So the teaching is actually growing.
Yes.
Generation after generation after generation and generation.
Yeah, it's life. You know, it's life in that way. Like, and that's the beautiful thing about life, man, is life just continues to grow. Like that's where it's headed. It's just like constant growth and evolution. Like that's what life, I believe that's what life is. Like, yes, there's death involved, but that's a process in the cycle of life. Like a tree is always growing for the most part. Yes, it is dormant seasons. Yes, there's things that are happening. Maybe there's establishing roots. We're not too sure like what's actually going on always. And we never really know what's going on, but it's always growing. We're always growing. Kids are always growing. Everything is growing and everything is moving towards evolution. And I believe that that's a bit like a really good evolution. I believe that life is always like moving us for the better. It's moving us to the better. And when we can open ourselves up to that, and we can open ourselves up with the teachings from our teachers with that, and our community with that, and who we are, it's like no matter what, it's gonna get better. If we're really learning and being a student, it's gonna be better. It's gonna get better. Because that's just the evolution of life.
Yeah, infinite possibilities.
Yes. Yeah. Openness, expansion. I think that's just like when, or at least that seems to be the theme, man. I didn't believe that all throughout my life. Like there's definitely times and moments in my life where I didn't believe that was true. But I fundamentally believe that is like a principle of life. Is like it is always moving to growth. And evolution.
Yeah, I would agree.
Highest expression of who we are.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's the Martin Practel teaching that I recently received and shared with you about just look around. Like, yeah, of course it's hard to see the tree growing in this moment, but look around. The leaves are blowing, moving slightly, right? The sun is slowly moving, the earth is slowly spinning, the moon, everything is in constant movement. And we ourselves are in constant movement. And if all living things ceased or stopped moving, we would cease to be. It all would cease to be. We just stop, boom, done. Stop. So yeah, I love that. Just constant evolution, staying in motion. Yeah.
I'm curious too, like did you, and I think I've asked you that question before, but like when it comes to your parents, like did you always see it that way? You know, like were you always like, thank you for the experience?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, see?
Absolutely not. And that was actually a harder, a more difficult, it was a more difficult experience with my mom than it was my dad. My mom kind of, in a way, being my primary caregiver. So there was just a little bit more stuff there that I needed to get over with my mom and forgive myself for, forgive my mom for. But no, like I used to just blame. Like, you know, from age 15 years old, 14 years old, I can very much remember just blaming my mom and my dad for all my problems. You know, it hasn't really, only a few years ago, maybe a handful of years ago, is when I forgave enough to really be like, oh shit, this has nothing to do with them at all. Like, yeah, things happen for sure. But like I just said, like, thank you so much, because if it wasn't for those things, then I wouldn't be who I am today. And so I'm just grateful for it all. And I'm you know, it's nice to be at a place of peace with that.
Yeah, it's beautiful that you get to experience that. And I just love, like, I love that process, you know, because at first you're like, no, blame them for everything, you know, you're like, you're the reason why I messed up. You're the reason why I'm like the way that I am, you know, just blaming and blaming and blaming and blaming and blaming. And I think that, like, for me in my life, I did the same thing, man. I blamed my parents for everything, especially my mom, and the same, like, likewise, like, less my dad. But there was a lot of blame there for my dad too. And what I found in my experience was that simply was just a byproduct from the pain and hurt that I was carrying. And as I forgave and as I let go of that, then I began to open up into what was always there of, oh, thank you. Thank you so much for this, because this is who I am now. And I get to experience life this way. It's like, comes back to like that Gnostic Gospel of Thomas, which I think I brought. It's like, I will give you hidden treasures, riches stored in secret places, so you may know my name, the Lord. And all that's pointing to is that within those little pains and those hurts are always like the diamond of gratitude and more compassion and more empathy and more just expansion and joy and capacity in the world. It's like when Jumping Mouse gave up his first eye. He got more in tune with the way of things, you know? It's like, oh, it's like, you're the reason why I'm this way. Like, it's all about the eye. So give up that eye. Give it up.
That eye, just so everyone's aware, if you're not already, is the ego. It's the personhood. It's the one who's just caught up and attached. It's dropping the identities, dropping the stories. It's getting rid of the me, the I, even though, again, it comes full circle and I am. Eventually, we reach the point of I am.
Yeah. Which is important to note for everybody, because it is like, there's a little bit of like, well, it can be hard at first too to like give up that I, or at least I found it for me as well. The first one, it's like, well, it's all about me. It's all about me, the way that I am. This is who I am. These are all the stories. These are all the things. And when we start to loosen that grip, then we get to the truth of things, like you said. Then we get to the real I am. Then we get there. And that was the story of Jumping Mouse. He saw the taste, you know. He saw the taste of this. He saw the sacred mountains. He's like, wow, look at those things. Wow, that's there, you know. That's God. That's the universe. That's love within us. You know, we have a taste of that experience. And then slowly but surely, it's kind of like that, just unfolding through the mentors, through the guides, through the people that we meet, through that polling, the natural pull of that, to, okay, now I'm in this position where I gotta give this up to make this other being whole, to make this other being a whole being. I have to give up this part of me to become whole. And what I love too is, like, I think what it speaks to, and this is just coming to me now, with like him being hit by the eagle, there's no separation between any of the beings. Like, it just hit me of like, when he gets smoked by the eagle, he then becomes the eagle, right? He then becomes the eagle. So there's no separation between him and the eagle. It's like they're all just blended into one, which makes me think of like, well, he is the buffalo. And by him giving up his eye, giving the eye, he helped himself become whole. And that was what he was doing all along, was helping himself become whole.
Damn.
And I was like, yeah, it's coming out. Like, far out. Like, far out.
See, that's the beauty of these medicine stories. Every single time we read it, and it's like it's a checkpoint on, like, we just get to, they mirror us.
Yeah.
It's like, so where's this story mirroring me today? Where am I at today? Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, knowing that every day will, like you said, will be different. Like, every day is gonna be different. We're gonna see ourselves in different ways throughout the story, because the story is gonna mirror us in different parts of our lives at different moments.
And so that could very much lead us to the question of, like, to wrap this thing up. It's like, listen to the story again if you wish, and we'd be curious to know. So, shoot us an email, drop it in the comments, wherever you're listening to this thing, wherever you're watching this thing. It's like, we really want to know, where are you at? Where are you at in the story? Where do you see yourself in the story? And share a little bit of medicine, because it's full of it, and there's nothing like a good dose of medicine.
Very true. Yeah. Very, very true.
Is there anything else that you...
No, I think that's it. Yeah, that feels good for me. It's just, yeah, exactly what you shared of just, where do you see yourself, Where do you find yourself in the story?
Yeah.
And then, as always, not as always, but we're live on social. So if you guys haven't yet followed, or maybe you're coming from Instagram or you're coming from TikTok, we're live on those two platforms at We Are Being Human. So make sure to just check in there, and you can also shoot us a comment there. You can shoot us a message there as well. But they're other platforms, and yeah, we're just excited, I think, to keep this growing. We have a lot of cool ideas and things in the pipeline of what we want this thing to be and where we want this thing to go. And just really excited for that. And also really excited just to be here and to be in this moment with you and with you listening. And I think there's just the moment at the end where it's just thank you.
Yeah. Good to be here. Haichka. Love you guys. See you next time.
What does Haichka mean?
Thank you in Helkaminum.
Beautiful. Who'd you learn that from?
Bill Mears.
Cool. Who's Bill Mears?
Bill Mears is one of my teachers.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I get to see him on Monday.
Nice. Beautiful. Cool. Well, have a good week, and we will see you next week.
Yeah.
Peace.